goes.
You clear?
Yeah, you're clear.
The tailgate?
Yep.
I'm nervous.
You're dragging it. His pallet's falling apart because he was dragging it. Didn't realize it. He wanted it low, but I guess he was lower than he thought. All good.
Last year, right about this time, we were baling hay, but this year there's been a little bit of a drought and then like a deluge of rain and then a couple weeks without rain. So our grass isn't quite ready to mow or to cut for hay, but also we're behind in things here. We got a lot going on at Piney Grove, and usually in April, I'll put out about 1,000 pounds of fertilizer onto our pasture here to promote the health of the grass and also to get it ready for haying season. So what we're going to do today is put out that 1,000 pounds of fertilizer that I bought with the Summit TX25 and their 500-pound broadcast spreader. And also I've got the ATV ready because I really like spreading with the ATV, and I can be a little bit more precise with that and just show a comparison between spreading with a tractor and an ATV. We've got 1,000 pounds of fertilizer, and it's a special blend for pastures. It is 16-4-8, and the important number there is the 16 because that's your nitrogen number. So we've got 16 pounds of nitrogen per 100 pounds of fertilizer, and that's what grass really likes, that's nitrogen. We have the trusty Suzuki Eiger 400 with the Cabela's 2.0 spreader. This is a 2008 model, and I think that spreader is about 10 years old. And the Summit with the Summit spreader, and this spreader is a little bit different from spreaders I've used because it actually has an agitator in the bottom, so that'll spin around in there and keep the fertilizer from clumping. So if you've never spread with a cyclone spreader, you really got to get a feel for it because the gate or the lever on the spreader that opens up the gates at the bottom that give you your flow rate, they're never perfect. So you got to just kind of get to know your spreader, get to know the speed of your tractor, and kind of be able to look at acreage and go, all right, I want 100 pounds to go over this amount of land, and if I don't get that, then I'll go back over it. So I have never used the Summit to spread fertilizer before or used the spreader. So what I'm going to do is just like do a set speed across the pasture with the gate open all the way. When a set speed as fast as I can drive, and just see how far this bag goes. And with that, I'll be able to determine, you know, how much I need to put across the rest of the pasture, or how fast I need to drive, or if I need to close the gate at the bottom. So this is the lever for the gate at the bottom, and I've got a little pin here at about the 3/4 mark, so I'll just take that lever and push it down with the PTO already started or spinning, and then just take off and just see how far this 50-pound goes. We're keeping the edges mowed with the 0 turn, but the rest of it's going to be for hay. This part here has been mowed because it's a path to the side of the property. But there's certain areas of the grass that's pretty short. It's less than a foot tall right there, and in other places it's closer to up to my waist. So what I want to do is concentrate most of the fertilizer in the areas with the lower grass, and I'll be able to do that by either speeding up or slowing down the tractor or shutting that gate. It's not a very precise way of doing it, but it's the best way that I know how to do it. I'm going to take a pass right down here to the right side of that oak tree. It should spread it out, I don't know, 10 to 12 feet, 10 to 15 feet on either side. Going to go just wide open and see how far this 50 pounds goes. All right, the PTO. That's what I was afraid of when I lift up to look into the spreader. It takes my weight off the seat switch and then the tractor stalls out because the tractor won't keep running the PTO if there's no weight on the seat. All right, I'm going to push this handle down and then go. I don't think I'm going to make it. Well, that's why we make these videos, to show people not only how to do things, but also how not to do them. I've got a lot of experience with this cyclone type of spreader. I've got a lot of experience with fertilizer spreading, but this tractor's different, this spreader's different, and I didn't even make it, I would say 3/4 of the way down there before I ran out of fertilizer. It's a 2-speed transmission in the tractor, and high is too high to do any kind of farm work, and low is a good gear range for this tractor, but I need it a little bit faster. So because of that, I've got the gate open 3/4 of the way, and it just let out too much fertilizer. And also that agitator, I don't need that agitator in there. I've never had one. And that agitator is if you have like clumpy fertilizer or clumpy things that you're spreading or things that bind up. And I've just never had a problem with dry fertilizer in a cyclone spreader. So I'm actually going to take that agitator off. And that agitator has that one bolt right there, and I'll take that off. That was just slinging fertilizer around and beating the sides of the spreader. Might be necessary for something, but nothing that I need to do tonight. And don't ever let her tell you different. Miss Piney Grove does do windows. She says she doesn't like it though. She actually washed them once already, and then with the sun setting, she saw some spots on them, so she's out there doing them again before it gets dark. I don't have my sockets with me today, but luckily my chainsaw scrinch is the right size for either the bolt or the nut. And it seems like the more you're in a rush, the more things need fixing or adjusting, because I don't have much light left, and I gotta get this fertilizer spread. There we go. This just was on top of that centerpiece, and it just spun around and agitated the fertilizer. It was actually agitating it so much it was kind of spilling out over the top. All right, what I think I'm gonna do is adjust this opening to stay closed a little bit more because of the speed of the tractor. But there's the opening right there, that whitish area. And that's only about 1/4 open. We'll try that and without the agitator. Now there is still some agitation with those little tabs right there. They'll still spin around and keep those openings from getting clogged. Do you cut the bottom of the bag or do you cut the top of these plastic fertilizer bags? I cut the bottom. It's hard to cut the top and not leave the corner that catches the fertilizer. We got like $500 worth of fertilizer there. I want to make sure I get every grain on the field and not left in the bag. All right, let's do another test run with that 50 pounds. It's always something. I forgot to shut the gate on the fertilizer coming over here, so I wasted part of that bag. I've got the tractor in high. Let's try this. I'm not going to start slinging until I get down there because that whole plate is just full of fertilizer. That's what happens when you get in a hurry, I guess. We're going to go in high gear and let her rip, Tater Chip. There we go. Push it down. Okay, that was a little better. I actually got all the way to the end and I had enough to go across the end of the field and come back a little, so I could probably open that gate up more. I think that agitator was putting more fertilizer through a smaller opening, so maybe I opened the aperture a little bit more. Got it set right there. And now I just put it down one hole instead of two. By the time we get it, it'll be the end of the video and all the fertilizer will be out in a haphazard fashion. I think the Hyson Sector 750 has a 500-pound capacity in this bed, so that's 10 bags. Let's see if she can do it. All right, let's see if she'll drive now. Yeah, she's light in the front end for sure. She's doing it. As a kid, for extra money, I used to work for different farmers, and that would be one of my jobs, would be to keep like the soybean no-till planter filled. So I would ride around in a half-ton pickup truck, slinging seed, slinging fertilizer, so that the guy that was driving the tractor could just keep going and not stop. Well, he had to stop for me to fill him up, but he didn't have to get it out of the cab of the tractor to fill up. That was my job. This should streamline things a little bit. All right, now that we're seasoned veterans at this, we're gonna go for 100 pounds. Hopefully make 2 passes there and back, and that should put out 100 pounds. I started out at the house, so I had more ground I covered, and I ran out halfway on the way back. I couldn't go any faster. It was beating me up. I'm probably one setting off on the spreader, but I don't have time to mess with it anymore. I'm gonna go ahead and put 200 pounds in the spreader, spread it out till it's done. I think the rate's pretty good. It's not perfect, and I'll slow down where the grass is thinner and speed up in the thicker grass. All right, let's do it. I think I got it figured out. I got that setting right. Running tractor in high because it's not, you know, taxed in the tractor a lot, because this is easy to turn with the PTO, and it's not ground engaging equipment. I can use it in high, and that really lets me buzz around the field. And I got that setting right on the gate, and now it's actually kind of fun. The stressful part is over, and that's that calibrating everything and getting your spread pattern and your spread rate correct so you don't waste this expensive fertilizer. Hopefully you get a little rain shower and wash this in, and I have some real thick hay. First cutting might be a little thin, but after that, let this fertilizer work, and the second and third cutting should be real good. So that actually turned out to be more fun than I thought with the tractor. Once I got it dialed in, I'm gonna do the rest with the ATV, because I've got some small areas I want to do, and it's real hard for me with my replaced shoulder to reach around and turn off that gate on the tractor, and the tractor is real bumpy, and this is kind of fun to drive. I think this holds 2 bags. Same concept. It's got a spinner plate and a gate. What I do with this is I keep the spinner plate running all the time, open the gate, and then when I get up to the edge where I don't want to spread fertilizer, I close the gate, because it's real easy for me to reach back to the gate and close it while I'm driving. Now, I could have done all of it with the tractor. The problem with the tractor is it's not as precise. It throws out wider, and you just can't get it in the small areas. And I really have a lot of corners and stuff here behind where our new house is going to go, and I just want to be more precise and get it exactly where I need it. And also, there's a back fence line I want to do, and then that would just throw it into the neighbor's woods and into a treed area. And this doesn't throw it as wide, so I can go right down that fence line and put out a bag there as well. I'm glad we grabbed the ATV, because I forgot how fun it is, and I haven't spread fertilizer in a while with it, and it's a mindless thing with reaching back on that gate and opening that feed gate and just ripping across the pasture, because it puts it out at a high rate and it doesn't throw it as far. You got to move pretty fast. But the reason we're not using the Hyson to spread fertilizer is because I don't have the right hitch. This spreader will work on like a truck hitch, but and the Hyson has a truck hitch, but I don't have the adapter to the spreader, so I need to order that from Cabela's. And then I can zip around on the Hyson, and that'll be cool, because the fertilizer can be in back of it and it can be spreading, and I can probably be a lot more efficient. That's one load in the ATV. I got 2 more loads on the pallet. The sun's setting. So my closing remarks on this is both of these were fun. The tractor was a little bit aggravating in the beginning because I didn't have everything dialed in, but both ways will get the job done. It's nice to have something like this to rely on if the tractor breaks down or vice versa. All right, guys, I got to get to finish spreading. I got 300 more pounds to do, but hopefully you got something out of this video besides me just zipping around the pasture. We appreciate you watching. We appreciate your support. And until next time, remember, life's short, tractor hard.